My original intention for this week's diary entry was to basically answer or comment on random topics that have come up on the Degrassi subreddit, but I think it's a little more important to talk about something else. Specifically, I want to focus on how the show handled Hunter and Yael this season. If you're watching this in the future, this season being season 4 of Next Class. So this season, Yael discovered that they're non-binary, and Hunter did not take it well. He felt that it was rather sudden. Yael never talked to him, that Yael's kind of ruined everything between them. And the big question is, did the show punish Hunter for basically feeling this way? I don't think so. Yes, other characters punished him for feeling this way, but the show itself didn't. Really, where this is best shown is in the writing. There aren't always people or some sort of authority figure coming out at the end or during the episode and basically laying out how things are supposed to be, what's the right answer. More often than not, the writing will focus on character interactions and dealing with any mistakes that they make, any wrong actions they take. If someone is being wrongly ostracized, the writing won't go out of its way to point out that the person being ostracized was right all along. They're gonna explore how it feels to be basically pushed away from everyone and what it feels like to be on the pushing end of that. The writing feels more like just wandering around a high school almost and just watching these teenagers just interact and go about their lives. That's not to say Degrassi has never had a moment where they do get into a little bit of an after-school special type thing where they will outright comment, hey, don't do this. But most of their storylines involve just watching characters deal with situations. We get to see that these things can happen. They won't always happen because they reuse different plot points with different characters and the situation is always different. If someone's coming out as gay, they're not always going to be accepted, but they're also not always going to be rejected by other people. The show really isn't here to comment on what's right and wrong. It's here to show that you're not the only one who's ever thought these things. You're not the only one to have ever experienced what you're seeing right now. It's here to show what sort of things can come about not communicating with your partner before it's too late, not giving someone the chance to explain themselves or figure out how they're feeling about a world-changing event like their significant other coming out as gender fluid, and also what can happen if you don't think about what you say before you say it. They won't point out that Hunter's not wrong for having preferences as to what his significant other looks like. The show also won't point out that obviously Baz and VJ are wrong for trying to pressure Hunter to stay with Yael even though Hunter doesn't seem either ready to date or physically attracted to someone who's not a woman. And this lack of comment really necessitates analysis. You need to look at all the fine character details and hints that are put into the show to build the whole picture. Otherwise, you're getting just glances and snapshots. This kind of ties into my video about why Frankie isn't racist. Yes, obviously people are villainizing Frankie for doing something that she honestly didn't mean to do. And yes, Frankie is not taking that well. She refuses to see how she could possibly be wrong when she didn't intend to. And that's the point. The point is that these situations can happen, and they're just sort of showing what it looks like when it happens. Now, wouldn't it have been great if the show came out and said that Yael really should have talked to Hunter about how they were feeling before they discovered that they were non-binary? Yeah. Should Hunter have discussed why he felt that Yael should shave her armpits? Oh, of course. Should Hunter have had a moment to sort of describe how he felt about Yael being non-binary and the thought process that was going through his head having to come to terms with such a change in his world? Well, yeah. Should someone have told Baz and VJ to stop pressuring Hunter into a relationship with someone who doesn't exactly fit his sexual preferences? Well, yeah. Was the situation pretty much a comedy of errors? It really was. And that's the point. That's how real life is. A lot of little mistakes culminating into something bigger. It would have been wonderful for the show to have done all that, but that's not Degrassi. They're not an after-school special. Now, the necessity for this amount of analysis can lead to some confusions, like the show seeming to punish Hunter for having preferences and having feelings other than what his friends wanted him to feel. I'm not really sure what the show can do to solve this other than spelling things out more. Maybe it could be a lot clearer if they had more episodes and had more time to explore little character intricacies. I do agree with a lot of people on the subreddit and Degrassi fans as a whole that 10 episodes really isn't enough. They don't have a lot of time or breathing room to spend on each plot line, kind of leaving it lacking and necessitating more analysis than before. While I do love picking up on the little hints and clues that add up into the bigger picture, even to me it does seem a little bit rushed, and it seems clear that the writers feel constrained in what they can and can't do because they just don't have the time to do it. I sincerely hope that the producers or Netflix, whoever has control of episode lengths, allow them to at least put a few more into there so that we can at least get familiar with these characters in the cast. We still don't know a lot about VJ and how long has he been here? His only thing was to act in other people's storylines. He's been in a storyline for Tristan, he's been in a storyline for Maya, but nothing for himself. Baz as well, we've not really focused much on him, although we've gotten a lot of sort of background characterization, which seem to suggest he's not a very savory person, so maybe it might be better that he himself stay in the background. There's really a lot to unpack with this season and the past 3 seasons as well. You can't simply watch it mindlessly and get everything from it. There is no turning your brain off with Next Class, and I do like the mental exercise, but I do feel that they're leaving a lot of work for the viewer. And while that will please people like me, it might not be the best direction to go to really capture a wider audience. And I feel like a show like Degrassi should be directed toward a more general audience rather than just the analytic type, but also not sacrifice those analytical, interesting details that makes me love the show so much. I mean, there's a reason why I'm doing a retrospective series on it, which I promise is coming. Things are crazy. Now, this whole thing isn't to say that my thoughts and feelings on the whole Hunter Yael situation or season 4 in general won't change. I mean, by the time I finally get to season 4 in my retrospective, I could have a totally different view on it. I could totally hate what they're doing with the show. But these are just my thoughts right now. I'm still gathering my feelings on the season, and I'm probably going to be still gathering them going into season 5 and as I rewatch the entire show. As always, thank you so much for listening or watching or however you consume my videos. Until next time.